told me my mic wouldn't work. Oh, damn it.
Right.
I didn't. This is my first time doing this. I didn't know that the mic was off. So it's on now.
All right, well, you can actually hear us now.
Sorry.
I just figured they were supposed to watch and then listen, like on the other website.
Well, they could. They could. But yeah, so
We just had a wonderful discussion. If you missed it,
yeah, so
on the walker. But long story short, go pick up the paper this week and support the walker.
But what's my
That's
guess?
the gist of it.
I just need to talk to Gina.
Okay.
When you talk to him, you talk to him,
Okay.
because I
will.
need to talk to him right away.
Okay. But I mean, I'm telling you, Mike Epps is just a movie star. He's not going to do anything to try to draw attention to youth programs. I love the cat, but I know he's
Probably something else.
Oh, yeah, something else in the paper.
Yeah, it's like so outlined.
Trying to. Yeah, so you're going to introduce Milicent Kelly. So on the back, if you flip that over, it has, I basically copied the press release. Okay. So you can just pick bits and pieces out of there. We're going to play does anybody have a pen I can use real quick?
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, was he there on the program?
Who, Anthony Beverly? Yeah. Yeah, it's Mamie Ware's brother. That's Cynthia Taylor's brother. Yeah,
Okay.
their younger brother. I mean, he's a bad dude as far as raising awareness in the community about youth programming. And that's what I'm saying. We have to get, this is Indianapolis, it's not LA. We got to get the mindset of, here are the people who will connect and are serious about youth programming in Indianapolis. And they'll be vital to what Martin's trying to do to get youth enrollment versus just that aura of having a name with the people.
Well, it's not just
Yeah.
a name. It's
Slash,
things
yeah,
that I know
recorder
Dr.
report.
White has
I
in
took
mind
the,
that you go
no,
with it
recorder
as an
report.
ambassador or
Was an S.
something.
It has an S.
The new facilities, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get that to interface with each other.
We probably get with some people like Cummings and people like that who's going to support somebody to help.
Well, I suppose that might be a main tempo and they going through a transition or something. That wasn't even something I was supposed to do, but
Yeah.
anyway. We need to connect.
I told you, I'm going to help you, but I don't want no weight in my wagon.
I don't want the chicken circuit either.
Well, you the one who came in here saying that you just came out the chitlin circuit.
It wasn't like that at the beginning.
I'll tell Gino to give you a call.
Okay, love.
I'll tell him to give you a call on that piece, but then, in between now and then, what I'll do is on my show, I'll talk about
We
it
look like such
and, about the event next
we
week.
look like such millennials.
And then,
We're gonna break and roll it.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Well,
This is how you get it
Through
done.
my network, because like I say, I've got 17 different shows here. They had their own audience of people. And
I got the link.
transfer
I'm about to
information
put it
about
on
it.
the recorder
I would like to
Facebook.
get one of the committee meetings on here with you on the program.
You can bring them in. Bring them in on my show.
When do you want them here?
Saturday about 10:30.
Because he actually should walk through the door, he's late, not lost.
What committee member is it?
Jake Von Vance, he's Pastor
On my show.
Vance's
Okay.
grandson. Do you know him?
Oh, it was
Saturday
recorded.
about 10:30.
No, this is
I'll put y'all back.
Oh, okay,
All right,
okay.
we'll be out here. All right.
You ready? After you want committee members?
Yeah, just about.
Okay.
All right, everyone. You're tuned into the Recorder Report here live on RadioNext.tv. So be sure to go ahead and, if you are on your phone, what you can do is download the TuneIn app. It's available both on Apple and Android, and that is a way that you can carry us everywhere that you go. Also, visit us online at www.indianapolisrecorder.com for everyday updates, news, community stuff going on, everything under the sun. Speaking of community things, we have an authors meetup. It is happening March the 26th at Indie Reads Books. That's located down on Mass Avenue. It is from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Just in case somebody wants to be funny. 11 p.m.? Oh my gosh, it's a nighttime party?
Yeah, because people do that.
Yes, people do that all the time. No, it's a daytime shindig, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have some really excellent authors that are going to be joining us. We're going to have most of them on the show next week, so tune in next week to speak with them, and that's going to be really, really awesome. We're going to have some great information on how to navigate the worlds of traditional publishing as well as independent publishing, so it's going to be awesome. And We are also live streaming on YouTube. We had a little bit of technical difficulty at first. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, so our microphone on the computer wasn't on, but we're good now. Everything's groovy, so check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/recorder report. They're laughing at my slang because I'm saying groovy, but
and then interim it like this, like that's the universal dance for groovy.
Yes, everybody has to dance in their seat, do a little body roll in the seat. So I have one quick announcement. This just came in hot off the presses. If you would like to support this, please go to blacknext.com, but it is the Black Next Group presents Cultural Fest in association with the Martin University Alumni Association, Saturday, March 26th. So what you need to do is just make it a whole Saturday thing. Get up, come to our thing, come get some coffee, and come get some bagels and some great information on publishing.
Mm-hmm.
Go chill, go get lunch, maybe change into your, cute nighttime clothes, and then head over to Martin University Gatheratorium. It is located on 2171 Avondale Place here in Indianapolis. The cost is $15 for regular folks, and if you're a Martin University student, $7. And it's going to be a fashion show. For more ticket information, go to blacknext.com. That's BLACKNEXT.com.
That day is pretty busy.
It is busy. Also, hold on. We had another announcement for events. If you don't, if you want to find something else to do, Victoria, do you know anything else going on March 26th?
Yeah, so I'm like, what a plug, Ebony.
I know.
Yeah, she's like the PR person for me sometimes. So on March 26th, from 2:30 to 4 at the Nora Library branch, I am having a natural hair event called Learn Your Curls at the library, and it will basically be for all of those women who are who have recently went natural or thinking about going natural and embracing their curly strands of hair. And we would talk about a variety of things. So that will be how to take care of your hair, the importance of protective styling, how to trim your hair properly, how to moisturize your hair properly, and there will also be a product swap. So if you are a quote-unquote product junkie and you have tons of products at home, like we all do, I have like a whole cart full of hair products that are half used or some I just don't like and I wish I could take back. If you have those, you can bring those and other people will bring theirs and then you can trade and then find something you like. I mean, that's how I found a lot of the products that I like. Someone left a bottle of Tresemme Naturals conditioner and I was like, what? And I stole it and now I love it.
Stuff like that. It really adds up if you want to try something new and try more than one new thing, and you never know what you're gonna get.
It's really expensive.
So tickets are $10, and you can find more details at classycurlies.com, and that is March 26th at 2:30 at the Nora Library branch.
Awesome.
We'll see you there.
Yay! And then somebody else has an announcement, but I'm not gonna put them on the spot. So we're just gonna say that Saturday is just gonna be such an awesome day. Awesome and exciting, but yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yay! Saturday's gonna be great.
Saturday's the best.
Yes. All right.
All right. What's next, ladies?
All right. So let's go over more of the juicy news in the paper this week. So again, we have a variety of stories. We are also continuing to celebrate Women's History Month in the paper with our Indie Sheroes. And for those who are streaming live on YouTube, you can see I'm kind of holding it up. Yes. This week's Shero is Kalia Shabazz, and she works at the IUPUI Multicultural Center, and she is the director. So that is this week's Shero, and we will have our last one for the week of March next week. We are not revealing who that is, and it will be a nice surprise for those people to pick up.
It will be a nice surprise for me, too.
Yes.
I don't know who it is either.
That's all right.
I'm not privy.
Wow.
Along with that, we have, like I said, a variety of stories. So Radio 1 Indianapolis has a lot going on, and so they just recently hired a new general manager to replace Chuck Williams, who was there for a very long time, and his name is Dion Livingston, and he was actually the general manager previously, or before Chuck Williams was there, so he had been in the Radio 1 family for a while. So he is coming from MS Communications in New York City, where he did a variety of things there, and now he's back in Indianapolis and has a lot of programs and ideas flowing that will be announced soon. Outside of that, the station has also found a new radio host, and I don't want to say they're replacing, but during the time slot of the late Amos Brown III, from 1 to 3 p.m., Amos held his Afternoons with Amos radio show that was very, very popular. And now they have another person who will fill that time slot. His name is Pastor Michael Jones. A lot of people know him. And he will hold his show called Community Conversation during that time frame. So,
and there's going to be a co-host, right?
I'm not sure.
Didn't they say that they were going to have 2 people on that show?
Yeah, well, he's not going to be the co-host. So with Amos's previous role, he did a lot of things, as in doing like a lot of community fairs, and then also with the radio show. So I believe that Pastor Michael Jones will take over the radio show part of it, but the actual person who works in the Radio 1 station
will be the community.
Right. And they have not revealed the name of that person, although I did ask about 3 times.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, statement's coming. But they did say that that person has previously worked at Radio 1 and their role would just be changing. So we'll just be waiting on that. And when it comes, we will let you know.
Yes. So I think we were talking about this earlier this week. It's just so funny how, you know, you run into people on the street and everybody's talking about the same thing. So, you know, Amos's his legacy definitely still lives on in the city and is strong, and people still have really, really strong feelings about him even to this day. And it seems like it was not even that long ago, because it wasn't that he passed away. It was a very short time ago, but people are still in shock and still, you know, trying to understand how the landscape of our city is going to be without a voice so powerful such as his. So I definitely think that Radio 1, they're putting forth a great effort right now to try to address those needs, as well as the Indianapolis Recorder newspaper. Amos, you know, had a long-time column in the paper for 20 years, just telling it, and yeah, he told it.
He just told it all.
He told it all. I can only imagine the things that he didn't tell. Like, sometimes I think about that. You know, like, imagine, of all the stuff that he said, imagine the things that he didn't say.
Yeah, I'm sure he could have written several books.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I think that in time, those of us, you know, journalists and, you know, truth tellers in the city, we will, and I count everybody at the Recorder in that number for sure, will continue to take up that mantle, and what he stood for won't ever die, for sure. So
he does come up in the newsroom still a lot. Like, you know, whenever there's something particularly interesting or controversial that Victoria and I see on the news, we'll just stop and be like, I wonder what Amos would say about this.
Gosh. For sure, yeah. And same with me. I think about that a lot, and you know, some other people that I talk to, it's always at the forefront of their mind. And I think that we just have to continue to keep in mind like what he represented, and make sure that we represent that. So if that's, you know, having that oh gosh, I'm losing my words here, but basically just holding each other accountable and just having that principled approach to everything that you do, just knowing what it is you stand for and representing it in everything that you do. So yeah, I'm excited to see, you know, the new changes over at Radio 1. I still tune in from time to time, so I'm excited to see where that's going to go.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the other stories, and then we have 2 more stories by Kelly.
Oh yeah, so let's talk about Opportunity Indianapolis,
which is awesome.
I've
done it, and it's fun.
This sounds really
fun
cool
and engaging and educational.
Yeah, basically it's a 2-day field trip for adults. Well, actually, I asked if kids could go, and she said no one's ever really asked that before. It's usually adults, but it's a 2-day field trip around the city. There's a charter bus involved, and a group of about 50 people, professionals from various backgrounds, you know, people of different ages, like millennials through baby boomers. It runs a gamut. They go on this planned excursion around the city, and there are different stops that are related to different topics. And at each of the stops, there's 1 or 2 or 3, however many people available to talk to the group about a particular, whatever issue it is that they're talking about, and about how to get involved. Basically, it's put on by Leadership Indianapolis, and their goal is is just to foster civil engagement, really.
Mhm.
They just want people to be leaders and to get involved. So Opportunity Indianapolis is a way that people can efficiently, I mean, if you think two whole days is efficient, I do, because you get to see a lot.
You do.
Yeah, they take you through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good way to efficiently kind of evaluate what's going on in the city, what people are talking about, what the big issues of the day are, and then to learn what you can do to get involved in those issues.
Yeah.
So they've got, they do it only twice a year, in April and in August, and it's coming up, April, it's on the second page, but it's coming up in April, but registration is open now. And since it's so awesome, it will probably fill up.
It certainly will. So if you're interested, I would definitely suggest that you go to Leadership Indianapolis website. I believe that's leadershipindianapolis.com, and go ahead and sign up. I know that a lot of people, their employers will pay for them to go because it's a wonderful program to give you guys an idea of some of the heavy. This isn't a fluff day. It's not boring either. It's actually really, really fun. But some of the things that they talk about, how heavy it gets. Last year, we sat with the people that run downtown Indianapolis and that run Visit Indy, and they talked about how RFRA affected the convention economy in Indianapolis. And it got so tense in the room that one of the people in there almost was brought to the point of tears because of the conversations that they had with people in the service industry and the entertainment industry and things like that in our city, and how their livelihoods would be affected by this legislation. So it got deep. We sat down. Another one of our sessions that I attended was with Dr. Louis Farabee and also the man who runs the Mind Trust. I can't call his name off the top of my head.
I just did a story on him. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. What'd you say his name was, HP? No, it's a different guy. Yeah, but
Dan or something?
yeah, it was interesting.
So bad with
it was very interesting. So that just to give you an overview. So definitely go onto their website and check it out. We are going to take a quick pause for the cause really quick. So stay tuned. You're listening to the Recorder Report here on RadioNext.tv.
What's the guy's name?
Y'all should come caught up in y'all,
Dan
man.
something, because I did a story on him.
No, you guys are
That's why I
doing
looked at
it.
you because I was like, you talk to them a lot. Well, I'm talking to him once.
I'm going to Google it so we can settle it.
Yeah.
Stay quiet.
I want to say his name's like Dan or
Come in there
something
for a
with a
second,
D.
right?
But yeah, Karanga.
Yeah, Karega. When he was, we were going for a charter school at one point in time when the Goodwill came in and was awarded.
Yeah,
David
I think he
Harris?
was involved with them too.
David Harris.
David Harris. Okay.
Nice to
They
meet
climbed
you.
as
Nice
one of
to
the
meet you,
performers,
Ebony.
You look very familiar. I don't
You
know
do
where it's
too.
from.
I
but
can't
I
remember.
told you probably know it from
Yeah.
somewhere, man. I told you.
But
But he's actually a performer. He'll be on Natty on the lineup with Rahima McNeil and Human and those folks
Oh, nice.
next Saturday. So that's the
Nice.
event that Martin University
Oh,
is
okay.
doing.
Nice.
So we're gonna
Okay.
start breeding a little awareness about
Oh, yeah.
what they're doing.
Cool. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I love Rahima.
Yeah, I told you, that's like my baby, man. I've been knowing Rahima since she was 17. When I inherited her,
Wow.
she was walking around in tennis shoes and stuff, man. And I watched her start just growing up. I'm just
Now she's dang near a supermodel.
oh my
Like,
God, yeah.
She's on a whole other level.
Ooh, Lord.
Right.
Yes.
And I give her that daddy call all the time too. Sometimes,
Hey.
you're showing just a little bit too much of that.
Right.
But no, that's my girl,
She's
man.
good people. Right?
Yeah.
She's fantastic.
So yeah, he'll be performing. So I just wanted to definitely meet you guys and.
I'll be performing, doing my music. I'm dropping an album next month. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna have him on Jumbo Love, see what he knows,
Oh,
Be
okay.
ready, little bro. All I can say is be ready, because you ain't gonna meet this guy Saturday.
Okay.
It's another dude that comes out,
Okay.
but he's cool.
Cool.
Yeah,
So it'll be this Saturday or
this Saturday.
This
Come because
Saturday.
the event's next week.
What time?
About 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
There'll be some other folks in here from the community. Actually, my show is themed around entrepreneurship. Been meeting so many brothers with unique occupations that they've gone into. Like met a brother, only brother who has a dove release company. He releases doves at
Oh, we
funerals.
did too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Kendall
let
Williams.
me.
Yeah.
And, but I found that so intriguing. I said, we need, because this is where we have to. You gotta get different, man. You ain't going to work at Chrysler and retire no more.
Right.
So if you start a business, it has to be something unique, something
Yes.
people need and use,
Mm.
and roll with it. This is crazy. I was like building Noah's Ark 3 years ago. Well, what the hell is HB doing? But that's what happens.
Right. You have to
Yeah.
start somewhere.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So yeah, just plug into this, man, and we'll get you some awareness. Because you need awareness right now. You need it quick.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm so
I've got
tired,
some
I'm just
tickets.
not
I can give some
happy.
people
Sorry.
those tickets. I'll give some away to give on different shows.
We're almost there.
So we've got a show lined up today, for instance. After this show, I have a brother who's in 5 Links organization, where he's recruiting people to work in his organization at 5 Links, and then he exposes a different
Oh, she
product or
does.
service each week.
You look so
After
serious.
that,
Why am I that
Minister who has
serious?
the homeless initiative, and he comes on.
Why?
I really wish
And
we
then
would
I have a
have
brother
I'm
that's
gonna
a
make
chef.
You
That brings
should.
food in the
You
studio.
should.
And then he goes
Yeah,
out and
HB
talks
put 'em
about
on.
healthy
Oh, okay.
restaurant eating, and people
Yeah.
stop by. So it's
Well,
crazy up in there. It's all kind of hodgepodge going on. So
Who you got on after us, HB?
this guy Jill Boyd that used to be with the Urban League,
Okay.
and now he's an independent
gosh,
representative for
horrible
5 Links organization.
Oh, okay.
And gets on and talks about some of the different, some of the different agents come in and talk about. I just went into home security and made a living, because they've got like 30 different products and services that people are already using, and you become an independent broker and get paid. So, for instance, using the example again of home security, ADT will come out and say the same thing that they can sell you, but they getting $350, $400 a pop for doing it.
Mm.
So they get people to say, I don't want to sell that other stuff. I'll just sell home security and make it a living. So, that's unique. It's different. So, I'm all about, outside the box, because the box ain't been too kind. The box has not been too
You have
kind.
to be innovative.
Yeah.
Got about 3.5 minutes left.
Okay, cool. We'll go ahead and let this ride. I gave y'all a shout out, but since you're here, when we come back from the break, I have to do announcements. So I'll let you hop on really quick and say something else. You said what now? They left the IRT at 10:30, so they'll be here
Oh, I thought it was
shortly.
And then you can get this if you
Oh,
go.
no, no,
yeah,
no, no,
I was
no,
the lady who was
on
sitting
your
on the
phone.
couch waiting.
Oh, no. Milicent,
It's in the
she's
radio,
not on
like this
until
little
11.
green circle with a white flower in there. And then if you type in Cool Space Groove Radio, then you can pick it up. We've got 3 other
So
stations
this
as
is the last
well.
music break before.
Start getting used to it because
flip it over.
we're going
There's
to
some
turn my
more.
hip hop station into like an
Wait, what?
educational hip hop station.
Right now we're at
Where new artists like yourself
Are we
can
at
put their music.
10:30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we were a little bit late.
Tune in.
Okay.
Radio.
Yeah, so you're
It's a
gonna
free application. If
you're
going
gonna
through your-
introduce
Yeah, that's it.
Milicent
Just install
at
it.
10:37.
11:15.
What?
Yeah, you flip it over. Yeah, you're gonna introduce Milicent at 11:15. It's above that big paragraph.
But it says Victoria Weird News Story.
Yeah. Yeah, Victoria does the weird news story from 11:11 to 11:15. She's going to do that, and then right after she reads the weird news story, then you're going to introduce Milicent from Bridge and Tunnel, and then we're going to go into her.
Okay.
Okay, so here,
That's what you'll be looking
this
for.
is not.
Cool Space Groove. is the
No,
station
that's not
you're on.
Milicent.
Cool
Okay,
Space
that's
Groove.
what I think
Yeah,
we were both
after you get
confused
in,
on.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's no.
introducing the guest?
Download it.
It says
Yeah,
guest slash
37/topic.
Yeah,
slash
sorry,
topic.
Fire
So it's
department?
topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can do fire department, and
Okay.
then we can talk about Brittany's story as well, like briefly.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Okay.
I will mention that event though.
Start learning. I
Oh,
mean, this
yeah.
is like for your network of folks.
Yes.
This is kind of like what
Which event?
congregate your audience.
Oh, that one.
basically.
No, this sidebar.
Processing it all.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
glad you didn't
Oh, I
see
didn't even see
Come
that.
here and do
Yeah.
another one, like my album drops and stuff too.
Yeah,
No, that
and
would
I'll
be
tell
good.
you what will happen is I'll find the right show to let you come do that interview on.
It's Saturday.
Because what I want is a program
You wanna
going, you might want to even start
Just
considering.
jump
this.
straight to that and not talk about
I do
fire
2-hour
stuff, or-
blocks in my programming, and I like to introduce new artists.
Okay.
And a show to
Well, fire
introduce
stuff
new
is
artists would be
hot topic.
perfect.
Um,
They sound like on this radio.
Dude,
I
I sound like.
also because it's fire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
and
tell
that's
real
okay.
quick. I can tell real quick. When
I'm so mad
I
I
was
didn't see
interviewing
this until
Ebony,
right now.
I was interviewing
Such a
her. I said,
loser.
"Oh shit,
It's
she needs
okay.
a show."
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So I'll
He's
just
also on the
plug
board
it
and he helps
to
with
get
the
people interested.
spokesperson for the youth initiative
Okay.
too,
But I won't
ambassador
really tell them
initiative. So
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll get together and I'll tell you
Hold some to
about
myself.
I run a fitness class.
Okay.
And everyone's listening to this.
Fitness group.
I know.
Fitness group.
Yeah, us on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah, we're crazy.
Well, it says one viewer. Is that us? Are we the one viewer?
No.
No.
No, it's somebody else.
One viewer.
Hi, one viewer.
Love this YouTube streaming, man. Y'all got to get old brother hip to this now. Come on now.
Oh yeah,
Shoot.
yeah. I'll show you,
Okay.
but we're gonna do this every week.
That's good.
Yeah.
You ready?
Hello, everybody. You're tuned in to the Recorder Report here on RadioNext.tv. We just want to remind you that we are streaming live on YouTube. So if you would like to see our lovely mugs, go to youtube.com and search Recorder Reports. Also, follow us online. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are on all of those platforms. On Twitter, we are at Indie Recorder. On Instagram, we are at Indie Recorder. On Facebook, we are Indianapolis Recorder Newspaper. You can also, I'm sure these ladies wouldn't mind you following them either. I'm on Instagram. My Instagram name is at Ebony the Writer.
Mine is at Victoria08 Davis.
I'm not on Instagram.
You're not on
No,
IG?
I'm on Twitter though.
Oh wait, that was my Twitter one.
Oh, that was your Twitter? What's your
Yeah.
Instagram?
Classy Curlies.
Classy Curlies. Okay.
I'm on
You're on
Twitter
Twitter,
at
yeah.
KDP Sloan. That's
Awesome.
SLONE. People spell my last name wrong a lot.
With an E.
Yeah. I can
Not
only
an A.
imagine.
No A.
Yeah, no A.
Sloan, no A.
No A. that could be your next Twitter handle. If you ever get bored of KDP Sloan, you can be like Sloan, no A.
Yeah. I introduce myself a lot as Kelly with a Y, Sloan, no A.
That's
Yeah.
cute. I like that. Yeah, my last name gets misspelled a lot too, and I'm just like, come on
There's so
now.
many ways to spell it though.
There are just like
Like
Sloan.
how many P's, how many L's? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a mess. So yeah, but follow us online. Also, log on to IndianapolisRecorder.com. We're gonna have this broadcast up later on this afternoon. And also, every day we post up new news stories, all the juicy topics happening in the African American community. You can find them there on IndianapolisRecorder.com. Also, download the TuneIn app so you can carry us everywhere you go. That's Radio Next. So, one more reminder before I start forgetting what I'm doing. We will be hosting an authors meetup. I mentioned it earlier. Next week, we're going to have our panelists on. They're going to be talking about their experiences in the independent and traditional publishing world. So it's going to be happening March the 26th at Indie Reads Books in Indianapolis, downtown on Mass Avenue from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also on March 26th, there is going to be a cultural fest at Martin University Gatheratorium located at 2171 Avondale Place here in Indianapolis. Doors open at 6 p.m. Tickets are $15. If you're a student, tickets are only $7. For more information, log on to blacknext.com. That's BLACKNEXT.com. And we have one of the performers here with us live in studio. Introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? I'm Sko Nixon. That's SCONIXON. Come out to Black Next. It's going to be on March 26th. I'll be performing. There'll be a lot of great performers out there as well. You can get your tickets at www.blacknext.com. You know, they're $15 right now. Pre-sale students only $7. I'm Sko Nixon. Check me out, man. My music is coming out, dropping an album next month, and there will be also great artists out there also. So take advantage of this event. It's a great historical event that we're trying to do. So it'll be a great time for you to come out, friends, family, youth. You know, we're just trying to do it out here. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sko Nixon. So you guys be sure to check that out. Also, Victoria's Classy Curlies Learn Your Curls event. We should plug that on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's on Facebook, but if you go onto Instagram, Classy Curlies, you go to classycurlies.com, you can find all the info. It's going to be awesome.
Alrighty.
All right, so let's talk about some more of our awesome content that we have in the paper this week. Sorry, I have a little frog in my throat. This is on Stands Now, so you can pick this up right here at the bottom. We've got a story about a controversy in the Butler-Tarkington neighborhood. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So fortunately for them, they've got a very active and engaged neighborhood association and community that really seems to be really good at rallying around issues and stuff like that. So what's happening is the chief of the fire department, Ernest Malone, he has a plan for, basically it's an efficiency plan that he would like to enact this year. One of the aspects of that plan is he's proposed closing the fire station, I think it's Station 12, in the Butler-Tarkington neighborhood, and then combining it with the station in Broderickville. So Butler-Tarkington does not want that to happen. They consider this fire station a fixture in the community. The way that they talk about it, it sounds like they know they're firefighters. It's like a tight-knit community place. So Chief Malone went to their what's it called, neighborhood association meeting earlier this week, and presented his plan, tried to get everybody on board, but they wouldn't have it.
They're wrong with it.
Yeah.
So did it just like erupt in craziness, or
flipping tables and everything? It was,
yeah,
someone lit something on fire.
madness.
It was so ironic. No,
I know, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
No. Full disclosure, I didn't go to the meeting.
Okay.
So I don't really know what the tone was. But after the meeting, the BTNA, the Butler-Tarkington Neighborhood Association, they released some statements, and they also have contacted the mayor.
Wow.
So
They're pissed.
yeah,
Clearly.
they are pissed.
Wow.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. But for now, you can get more on that story on the front page of the Recorder. It's on newsstands today.
Yes, it is. So go pick it up. Like I tell you guys every week, we have the heat. So you have to get involved if you want to know what's really going on.
We're going to need our own fire department.
Yes, we do. Right there on 30th and Keystone. 29th in Tacoma to be exact. Because it's on fire.
It's on fire.
But, okay, on a serious note, I, to a certain extent, can understand both sides of this coin. I understand the efficiency because as far as budgets and things are concerned, you know, money is limited when it comes to certain things and providing services to our neighborhoods. But then on the other side, I totally understand the people in this neighborhood being upset about what's happening and not being on board and wanting to understand why. Like, why is this happening to us? Why does our fire station have to close at Butler-Tarkington and merge with Broderickville? Like, why is that?
And Chief Malone did present some of that information. One reason is there is development planned in Broderickville that would build more buildings, basically, and you would assume that there would be more events related to fire, more reasons why you would need a fire department there.
Yeah.
There's some data in the article about how many fire runs each of the stations had in 2015. And then another thing, there's some data, some maps that he shared, and there's more information about this in the Recorder too, about several other stations' service areas overlap with the Butler-Tarkington station service area. So it does, I mean, when I looked at his maps, it does look a little bit redundant. When he, overlays the service areas with the different colors and everything. I don't know. I don't have an opinion on this. I'm with you. Like, I see both sides. I mean, it's taxpayer money. I don't think Ernest Malone is out to, I don't think he's up to no good. I think he's just trying to do what he thinks is best with our money.
Yeah, I definitely understand that whole efficiency thing and the way that you've explained it with the overlap and things. From a fiscal standpoint, it makes sense that maybe, these two should be merged. But then on the other hand, I think that I applaud the Butler-Tarkington Neighborhood Association for approaching things the way that they did, because what happens all too often is that changes happen in our communities. People come into, our neighborhoods, whether that's, these nicer places or it's the ghetto, wherever it is, people come into these neighborhoods and decide what the neighborhood is going to have, and then the neighborhood doesn't stand up to say, no, I don't like that. and you better explain to me top to bottom why, and then maybe I'll get on board.
Yeah.
So I, definitely applaud them for raising a little hell, because it needs to happen. People have to be held accountable for the choices that they make. Everyone in leadership, developers, like we talked about the gentrification situation last week, everyone, these people have to be held accountable. So it's like, if you don't like something, say something, and then have them explain it to you as thoroughly as possible why it's happening, and then maybe you'll understand a little better. Nobody likes to have things kind of done in dark, shady rooms, where they're not included. No one likes to have someone come in and be like, okay, look, this is it, this is what is happening, good day.
So that happens very often.
It happens lots, and
we talked about this a little bit last week, but I think people think that happens more often than it really does, because they didn't pay attention at the beginning, at the start of an issue. We talked about the park that was going to be...
Oh, yeah, the dog park.
Yes, that was going to be the community park that was
park.
going to become a dog park.
Yeah,
that's a very, very simple way to put it, but people were outraged about it, but they weren't around when it was being discussed first. So what the Butler-Tarkington neighborhood is doing with their organizing and getting in touch with the mayor and having their meetings and getting information out online, that's exactly what needs to be happening.
Exactly.
So, no matter how this ends up, how it turns out, it's so good to see a community organizing like that.
For sure. And it needs to happen in every neighborhood. So if you're living in a neighborhood and you don't have a sense of community, I mean, take a page from Butler-Tarkington, maybe reach out to them and ask, how did you guys, get together, your organization, how did this whole thing work out? Because I want to replicate that in my own neighborhood. I was just talking to someone last night, and I was like, I'm so glad that the weather is breaking and it's getting a little nicer, because I want to know my neighbors. Like, know your next door neighbors, know the people that live on your block. Yeah, we have to know our neighbors. We have to know who is the city council person in charge of the area that I live in. Where's your trustee's office? Do you know how to contact the mayor? I mean, all these things are important, and they're going to be even more important the more and more Indianapolis continues to change. It's going to be extremely important that at the neighborhood level, people take ownership of where they live, where they own property, where they work, all those things. It's important that we take ownership of that, because if you don't, someone else will.
That's something I'm looking forward to seeing from the Deputy Mayor of Neighborhood Engagement. Is it Dr. Reverend or Reverend Dr. David Hampton?
I think it's Reverend Doctor.
The Reverend Dr. David Hampton. He was appointed to the Deputy Mayor of Neighborhood Engagement position. When I spoke with him shortly after that appointment, he didn't have any specifics about what he was going to be working on. It was still up in the air at that point because Mayor Hogsett hadn't taken office yet. But I am excited to see, and I hope to see him encouraging that kind of engagement that Butler-Tarkington has.
For sure. Hopefully, I know it's still a little early. It doesn't feel like March, but it is March, and, they just stepped into office in January. But hopefully, in the coming weeks or months, he'll be able to sit down with the recorder again and go into more detail.
Yeah, that just made me think of Kelly's other story that's on the inside of the recorder about the new safety plan that's going to be restructured, which I thought was really interesting. And let's see here.
I mean, I know what it says because I wrote it, but I want to look at it.
I thought that what I found interesting was the engagement center for people with the homeless.
Yeah, because that was the first I heard of that.
Me too, because a lot of people, I know there's one group here in Indianapolis that I speak with often, and they advocate for homeless rights and different things like that. But so I'm going to talk to them just, what do you think about this? I wonder if they know about this, or because they are under the impression that, especially as Indy continues to develop, they don't want to really take care of the homeless. They just want to put them under a rug. They want to hide them and act like we're this perfect city. So when I saw that, I was like, wow.
Yeah. And it really, to me, it indicates that the mayor and his administration are trying to take a holistic approach to this, and they're not just going to address drugs or
Yeah.
or just curfew
Yeah.
or other little like piecemeal things, but they're really looking at the whole picture and quality of life for people in Indianapolis and poverty, and it looks promising. I want to be like cynical and be a journalist too,
For sure.
and kind of look at it with critical eye, but on the surface it looks good.
Can we explain what it is for people who don't know?
Yeah.
Because we know. I was just like, wait.
So Mayor Joe Hogsett has a proposal that's in the City County Council now. It's actually been sent to committee, but it is for restructuring the Department of Public Safety. And so one of the things that everyone expected to happen was that he wants to put himself in charge of IMPD and the fire department, which used to be a role that was done by the director of public safety. So essentially he wants to take out that middleman in that position and then reassign some of the former director of public safety roles and tasks to himself and to Chief of Police Troy Riggs. So it's a 54-page proposal. A lot of it is updates to language where he puts mayor or chief of police in where it used to say director of public safety. And then beyond that, he wants to create a couple new entities. One of them is to be called the Office of Public Health and Safety. And there's lots of information in the article about what that would entail, but there would be a 5-member board. The director of the office would be appointed by the mayor, approved by the council. You can find more information about specifics in the article. And then also we touched on this, the creation of the Albert G. and Sarah I. Rubin Engagement Center. First of all, I want to know who they are.
I don't know.
I would be interested in finding out who they were.
Yeah, so if we, hopefully we'll end up doing a story and get more information about that, and we can find out who those people are. Because every time I see something named for a person, I'm like, why?
What they do.
Yeah.
I think it.
Well, I know that there's money involved because for that engagement center, which will be outreach to the homeless, and I think they're going to start with 30 beds at this. I don't know where it's physically going to be located yet, but. And again, this is just a proposal. Like nothing is actually happening yet. Where's that going?
30 beds.
30
They're going to
beds.
start off with. Are they going to expand at some point?
No,
Or,
I don't know.
yeah, but we need to figure out who these people are, though.
Yes, we need to figure out who these people are. I want to know about what they're going to do specifically. But again, it's all up in the air so far. It's up to the City County Council to approve this. So it's in committee. You can read the whole proposal. You can read a summary of the proposal in the recorder, but you can read the whole proposal online at indy.gov and get to the City County Council page and find the proposals. It's Proposal 112. And then the next time that committee, it's at the Rules and Public Policy Committee. The next time that committee meets is March 29th at 5:30 in room 5:30 p.m. Don't show up in the morning. In room 260 of the City County building. So if you're interested in that and you want to share your comments or be a part of the discussion, just watch what happens when the committee talks about it. That's where you're going to want to be.
Excellent. Another really important story in the paper this week, written by editorial intern Brittany Baget. The headline, Community Saddened by Killings in Fort Wayne. So if you guys aren't aware, a few months back, 3 young black Muslim men were murdered execution style.
It was actually, I'm sorry
in Fort Wayne.
to jump in, it's 2 Muslims and a Christian,
Yeah. 2 Muslims
which was
and a
news
Christian.
to me when I read this article.
Wow, okay, yeah, and I was not aware of that either because all the headlines leading up into then were saying that they were 3 Muslim gentlemen. But either way, guys, yeah, this was some heavy stuff.
Yeah. Yep. And as far as I know, no arrests have been made. The Fort Wayne Police Department, in the article, Brittany talked to the chief, and he's asking for the community to come forward and share information because, they obviously, someone who's going to kill 3 young men execution style, they want that person off the street.
Yeah.
For sure, most definitely. And to clear up some of the misconceptions, a lot of people at the beginning thought that this was the result of a hate crime.
Right.
It was not. It was, in fact, not a part of a hate crime that's been determined. But I think that it brought about some very tough conversations.
Mhm.
So last week we talked about don't read the comment section. This was one of those that I really had to pull myself away from the comment section. Like after like one or two, I'm like, all right, I'm done with this, because a lot of the conversation was really, really hate
I
filled.
can't read the I never read the comment section.
It's
because
awful.
It just makes me mad.
It's really awful. So yeah, we there was a lot going on with that, but there is actually an event
Yeah.
going on that's going to be speaking about some of those topics.
Yeah, so like we said, it wasn't a hate crime specifically, but there still is. I don't think any of us can deny that there is this tension, especially around Muslims. So there's an event in Indianapolis that's coming up on Saturday, this Saturday, March 19th. It's called What Every American Needs to Know About ISIS/ISIL, because it just depends on what you call them. It's going to be hosted by Faith Presbyterian Church in the, and I don't know how to say this, but Ahmadiyya Muslim community of Indiana. That's one benefit of working in print, is you don't have to know how to pronounce
Yeah,
stuff.
for sure. So it's spelled AHMADIYYA.
Yes. So they're hosting this community forum. It's free. The goal that they said is they're going to fight fear and Islamophobia with knowledge. So again, that is March 19th, this Saturday. It's at Faith Presbyterian Church on Hague Road from 10 a.m. to noon.
So I would encourage everyone, if you have some free time, to definitely go out and check out that event, because that's the only way that we're going to combat ignorance and hatred.
Yeah.
Is through providing knowledge.
Yep.
So,
And you can't just sit and expect it to come to you.
Yeah,
You've
you have to go get it.
got to go
seek
get
it
that.
out. Definitely, if you want to be a productive citizen of this world, it is your responsibility. So, once again, you are tuned into the Recorder Report here on RadioNext.tv. Stay tuned. We're going to take a music break, and stay tuned. We have really excellent interview coming up with Milicent Wright of the IRT's new production titled Bridge and Tunnel. To give you a little teaser, we are going to play Sarah Jones' track. Sarah Jones is the young lady that wrote this production, and we're going to play one of her favorites. It's called Your Revolution. So stay tuned.
Love you, young sisters.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Ebony.
Hi, Richard.
I thought to myself,
Hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. How you guys know how to shake hands?
Yes,
Hi.
yes,
Nice to
yes,
meet you.
yeah.
you dropped yours. Some artists,
Oh, okay.
you
dropped your hat.
Is it on that?
The wallet, yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kelly. Nice to meet you. Perhaps I was really exercised having a British accent might help me a bit, and then I thought, no, I should just get up there. Caroline.
Oh, hi. Nice to meet you. Finally meet you in person.
Yeah.
Hello.
I feel like I really know you. Look at her, like Elise was.
I'm excited to meet you guys. Come on and have a seat. There are 2 more microphones over on that side.
It's working.
Yeah.
Well, she would like this. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That would be good.
Because they know what we want.
So if you put it
Down
down
here, maybe we can get
Everything.
Yeah.
well.
The revolution would not be
You can
televised.
sit here if you want.
Oh, Gil Scott.
Yeah, that was fun.
Take you there.
Yeah.
This is the piece that she sued the FCC of.
Really?
Oh yeah, we can talk about that.
Yes, let's please do.
Interesting.
Totally.
I'm a big Sarah Jones fan, so I was excited.
Okay, no, it's cool.
Or humping around, because now revolution will not happen between us.
Yeah.
Revolution will not have me saying you ain't no nigga like the one I
Big
got.
thing in her.
Your revolution will not be you sending me for no baby shot. Your revolution
Yeah, I don't think there's a bad picture of her.
I love that she's laid it out with.
Yes, I loved it.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It was amazing.
The acting was awesome. Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, it was actually awesome. Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of people are talking about it online and stuff. So we could like write a little something up and then do a concert and give it to people away. For sure. Okay. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I was saying you can sing, of course. Yeah, you can stay in there.
Your revolution makes me wonder, where could we go?
This is so live video.
Yeah.
You should see here because
Oh, that I can.
We got to close.
Oh, he can close the blinds.
you're
Yeah.
the star, honey.
Yeah, but you're the
Your
top
revolution will not be you.
But we still want both of them to be seen.
Oh yeah.
I'll talk stuff, but don't get Rob with this.
So your name is Richard?
Yes,
And,
I'm the director.
okay, gotcha. What's your last name?
Roberts.
And Kelly, I'm gonna have you scoot down some a little bit so you can be in too. You guys can stay where you are, and I'm gonna have you, Victoria and Kelly, y'all come strip down just a little bit. There you are. You're a little bit more in there. Good.
Water bottle.
Okay. I'm just gonna put this on the table. I'm moving out here or somewhere. There we go.
Hi, my friends. Can you hear me?
Hello, everyone. You are tuned into the Recorder Report here on RadioNext.tv. That you just heard was Sarah Jones. That was one of her most famous pieces. Is called Your Revolution. It's like a remix off of Gil Scott-Heron's The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. This one, she's talking about, a lot of feminism things. She's talking about sexuality. It's wonderful. It's one of my favorite pieces ever. So I had to play it today as we introduce Miss Milicent Wright. If you are listening to us, you can also watch us on YouTube. We are live streaming. You can go to youtube.com/recorderreports to watch us live stream. So, yeah.
All right. So, as she mentioned, we've got Milicent Wright here. She's an actress, a stage veteran with more than 30 productions at the Indiana Repertory Theater. And we also have Richard Roberts here. He's directing a new show that's coming to stage, Bridge and Tunnel. And it's a one-woman show that Milicent will be starring in. And I'm going to just read this description that's on here because it's better than anything I could come up with. So Milicent will bring to life more than a dozen characters of both genders, varying races and ages, as she shares immigrant stories that are funny, poignant, and full of hope. Sounds like a lot. Tell me a little bit about the show and a little bit more than that.
Yeah, a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
Although I don't know who wrote that, but that does sort of encompass the show. What is enjoyable about it is various ages and a lot of races, a difference in religions as well, because we have several people who are Muslim in the play, and I do play quite a few genders as well. Richard and I, this is our fifth one-person show, solo show together that we've done. We first did Power. We started off with Power of One, which was a show for our education audience, and I played only 3 characters in that, which was nice. Well, we did 3 lives. I forgot it. There were various characters in those stories, but it was chronologically Harriet Tubman. Yes, Harriet Tubman. Madam C.J. Walker, and then Rosa Parks was in that play. And then we've gone on and done 3 of Charlene Woodard's, which plays. And then this is very different for us, Bridge and Tunnel, because it's very unique. It's set in New York. But as we talked about it, it's a very universal story. We all still experience love. We still experience feeling different, being the outsider, because it's very much a show about being the outsider or finding your way in to being an insider or finding your group. Because then again, a lot of the stories are woven together. It's woven together because it's a poetry slam, which we're hosting. We're having a poetry slam. I think Caroline gave you some.
25th, I think.
25th, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and there's still room. We moved it to the big theater from the small. So there's still room for people to come on down and be a part of that event.
So it's going to be like traditional slam, like with the rounds and everything.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
We've
wow,
got
okay.
some really, we've got some stars, you know, of the slam poetry. And then those stars have vetted a few sort of amateurs to come on in. And it'll be also all ages. I believe we're supposed to have a couple of young teenagers. Yes, Caroline's nodding. So we'll have a couple of teenagers as well as some slam poetry veterans. So I hope that gives a little bit. Richard can probably fill in more. I think that's, we don't want to give too much away. There's lots of great secrets, you know.
Well, Milicent plays 15 different characters, and with 13 different dialects, because they're all immigrants from all over the world.
Mind blowing.
That's talent.
And so,
That is.
Well, we're working on, and some of them are,
it's a big challenge.
yeah, a couple of them, I know because it's set in New York, Rashid, you know, he's from Brooklyn, so he's from, you know, the United States, but he talks about the difference in how, you know what I'm saying, how the blacks are treated as almost the same sometimes as immigrants. You know, so he gets to talk about some very, the comparisons of how African Americans are treated or thought about, the same as immigrants are thought about. You know, they say, you know, you don't understand what immigrants are saying. Well, they don't understand what we're saying. Know what I'm saying? So, so you get, you know, the fact that, you know, the talk, bringing together a foreign language with, you know, Ebonics. You know, when you're, and I've been with some of my students going, what are you saying? Translate that into, you know, everyday English. So Ms. Milicent knows what you're doing, what you're saying. So
yeah, I'm interested to know about the preparation.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask
What was the
about.
preparation like? And both of you can answer this, to break down these 15 characters, and then for you, Milicent, to kind of absorb them and figure out how to, you know, relay that to the audience.
that's funny you say that, because I was listening to my Pakistani man this morning, and we had one of my vocal coaches, Nancy Lipschultz, who does voice down at Indiana University, Bloomington. She got someone, and that's what I do, is I listen to a lot of native speakers, and she recorded a Pakistani man, Pawan, and him reading the script. So it's, you know, it's like we say certainly, he would say certainly, and event it's immigrants. So you learn, and I listen to them, and then you learn, because those who out there who are speech pathologists and work with children in learning how to speak, you learn what our articulators do. That's a little more detailed. So I will learn, we talk, you know, a lot in the front of our mouths, but then you put the tongue on the top of the ridge of the mouth, and it changes the sound right there. So you just change by changing where your tongue and teeth and how it does upper ridge will change the sound. And then my whole family, unfortunately, we're big mimics. So,
I don't think that's unfortunate.
You know, I guess,
It worked out good.
It worked out good. But I'll tell you, there's some dialects that are a lot difficult. We found out, and Richard helped me find out more, because he's been looking for people to help me out with this, that the Australian dialect is one of the hardest dialects for Americans to do. Richard found that out, because I was like, you need a writer, you need to find out who else we can do, because I cannot hear it. I can hear it. I could not get it into my mouth. So some of them are very hard, and I haven't started. One of my top 3 favorite characters, I love them all, but I have top 3, and one is Mrs. Ling, and I haven't even started Mrs. Ling's Asian, and that is really going to be very different in the front of the mouth with the tongue and the upper ridge. I know it's going to be very different. So, but that's how you do. You listen to a lot of people, and you watch people's mouths. Australians don't, Manik Pans, they don't move that top lip very much, and you know that's hard for us. We're mouth talkers.
Yeah,
you know.
Wow. Yeah, so I guess outside of, I don't even know where to start. That's so amazing. So outside of the vocal aspect, a lot of actors, they really settle into their one character that they have. And so outside of the voice part of it, how do you get mentally prepared to say, I am this character, but there's 15 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you, get yourself together?
Well, that's a multi-layered thing. That's lots of things.
Talk about what you were talking about in rehearsal the other day about the little triggers that you have to sort of throw yourself into the next character.
Yes. So I guess key thing is triggers. Sometimes a trigger can be a physical thing. I'll shift my body in a certain way. It'll trigger something, or I think of a couple of sentences, a word that'll help trigger it. And then this is going to sound a little strange, but I also can physically, my mind envisions who I am, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I see, one of our biggest examples is Boris Otrovsky, the Russian man. And the costumer had done a rendering, and I saw it, and it was gorgeous, but I said to Richard, this isn't Boris. This wasn't my vision of who I am as this man. And so we've been working, all three of us, to come to Boris, because also putting on the costumes are another trigger. It's another physical thing.
The costume designer, Katie Cowan-Sickmeyer, who's really wonderful.
Wonderful.
Has designed, it's a very cool costume because she wears basic black, and then it's just all pieces, parts, different jackets and hats and scarves and things that she can change really quickly to go from person to person. But Katie had designed Boris in a sweater vest. And Milicent said, no, I see him in one of those old man jackets. And so Katie brought in a couple of different old man jackets, the kind of windbreaker sort of kind. And Milicent put it on me. She went, yes, this is Boris.
That is exactly it. I go, this is, all of a sudden the shoulders, everything became Boris. And I was like, we have got it. She picked the ideal jacket that sort of...
We still haven't found Boris's glasses yet, but we're working on that.
We're working on that. Because you're thinking about who he is, and that's one of the things Richard's also a trigger, because your director gives you all these things and ideas and thoughts and implants, and then all of a sudden it's like he opened up Lydia Rios the other day, and it was like, bam! And I have to admit also, I've stolen a little of from Sarah Jones herself. She has like 5, and we do encourage you to watch her on those TED Talks. She's amazing.
We're gonna play a clip when we go to our musical break in a little while. Okay. We're gonna play a clip from the TED Talks. So
okay, that's great. She's got about Richard said 5.
She's got like 5 TED Talks. Her newest one is about her new play that's opening this fall. So that's cool.
That's cool. So
while we're on the subject of Sarah Jones, I just want to mention it's so cool that you played your Revolution before we started this interview, because that's a really kind of historic recording. She made that in, I think, like 2001, and it was her protest piece about rap music and hip-hop music and the way it treats women. Ironically, the FCC banned it from the radio. And so she sued the FCC. She's the first artist to ever sue the FCC and win.
Wonderful.
And they reversed their decision, and that's how come you can play it on the air today.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. She's an amazing talent, amazing writer.
Very nice.
She's a performer, so she writes these pieces originally for herself. And she's like Lily Tomlin or Whoopi Goldberg in the early part of her career, where she creates these characters. And these
glad you mentioned Whoopi.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Whoopi Goldberg's early Broadway show where she plays all these different characters,
Fontaine.
It's really
Fontaine.
Yes.
And I'm a big John Leguizamo fan.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Ghetto Clown.
Yes.
Yeah, he's amazing. Kelly and so we're a little bit geeking out right now. This is Kelly and Victoria like, who the hell? What is? But okay, now we're having a little geek moment right now.
These solo artists who create these shows, these multiple characters, because there's all kinds of comedians, and show my age, used to be, Flip Wilson as a kid, you know, watching him and all these characters.
HB's like, oh yeah, that's my stuff right there.
he did Geraldine.
Yes,
and it was like, so I grew up watching these, and you're like, oh, that's what you do, and you go these characters.
So, from a director's standpoint, what are the challenges, or what's different about a one-person show?
Oh, what's different about a one-person show? Well, the big difference is the actor's scene partner is the audience. And we don't get the audience until we're almost done rehearsing. So I have to sort of be the audience. And Milicent does this great thing. When we do these shows, we have chairs around the room because the upper stage where we perform has audience on 3 sides. So we put chairs around the room where the audience is going to be, and then Milicent and we all bring in stuffed animals. And so we have an audience of stuffed animals, and then they all have names, they all have specific roles in the play, because there's certain places where Milicent talks to one character's daughter, and so that panda bear there, that's my daughter, and then
yes, and then my
so she
students,
uses
and
that,
so they're
yeah.
all strategically placed. Or they also help me learn a physical placement on the stage of where I'm supposed to stop or start or be in, or remind me, talk to this side. So they're also there, but it came from our first solo show. It was nothing was there. So all these bare chairs of nothing. So I'm talking to nothing, and it was like our second one. I go, we got to put something in these chairs because I had to talk to something. Because I'm talking to these humans, there was nothing there, and at least with a fuzzy, your fuzzy's sitting there talking, or looking, and most of them always smiling, so you're getting positive feedback.
Yeah, it's a great great encouragement, great self-confidence booster.
It's just one of those things. I think it's part of humanity. It's all of us, we have that moniker, that's something that we carry from childhood. I bet you if you go to everyone's house, there's some little stuffed animal or bear or something that they've had that they carry through that gives them comfort, and there it is. And you need a lot of comfort when you're out there by yourself at sink or swim.
For sure. Yeah.
So my job as the director is just to offer some guidance and say, don't turn left, turn right. Yeah, that's good. Keep going.
Yeah.
And just kind of help shape and mold and be an outside point of view to say, oh, that works really well. Let's keep trying and find something else there.
Do you sit in different places of the theater?
I do, absolutely. That's particularly important when you're in a 3-sided theater to see how it looks from all different sides of the stage. Although Milicent is really, really good. She'll be going along and she'll go, I haven't given some love to these people for a while. I need to talk to these people over here. And she's really good at working the whole crowd. Milicent with an audience is an amazing, magical experience.
We can't wait.
You have to experience it.
For sure, we can't wait to see it. Yeah, we're gonna take a quick break, really quick. We're gonna cue up that other Sarah Jones piece so you guys can get an idea of what you're gonna experience when you come out to see Milicent at Bridge and Tunnel. So you're listening to the Recorded Report here on RadioNext.tv. Stay tuned. Great stuff, you guys.
What's all these positive posters everywhere?
Yes. You said what now?
How much of this?
Probably about probably like 5 minutes. Yeah, I'll say 5 minutes of it.
I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I stopped.
Scientists who sort of shape our world, and what could I possibly say that's the distinction to justify my participation in something like that? And so I thought perhaps a really civilized sounding British accent might help things fit. And then I thought, no, I should just get up there and be myself and just talk the way I really talk. Because after all, this is the great unveiling, and so I thought I'd come up here and unveil my real voice to you. Although many of you already know that I do speak the Queen's English because I'm from Queens, New York. But the theme of this session, of course, is invention. And while I don't have any patents that I'm aware of, you will be meeting a few of my inventions today. And so I suppose it's fair to say that I am interested in the invention of self, or selves. We're all born into certain circumstances with particular physical traits, unique developmental experiences, geographical and historical contexts, but then what? To what extent do we self-construct, do we self-invent? How do we self-identify, and how mutable is that identity? Like, what if one could be anyone at any time? Well, my characters, like the ones in my shows, allow me to play with the spaces between those questions, and so I brought a couple of them with me, and well, they're very excited. What I should tell you is that they've each prepared their own little TED Talks, so feel free to think of this as Sarah University.
Borrow your pen.
Okay. Well.
I'll do Billy Bode.
Oh, wonderful. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so very much for having me here today. Thank you very much. My name is Lorraine Levine. And, oh my, there's so many of you. Hi, sweetheart. Okay. Anyway, I am here because of the young girl, Sierra Jones. She's a very nice young black girl. Well, you know, she calls herself black. She's really more like a caramel color if you look at her. But anyway, she has me here because she puts me in her show, what she calls her one-woman show. And you know what that means, of course. That means she takes the credit and then makes us come out here and do all the work. But I don't mind. Frankly, I'm compelling just to be here with all the luminaries you have attending something like this, you know. Really, it's amazing. Not only, of course, the scientists and all the wonderful giants of the industry, but the celebrities.
We're
serious.
She asked us to mention the community. We're to talk partly about fences.
And
part of this time we got because the fence they're on stage right now.
Okay.
So they weren't
Literally right now. That's why they couldn't be here.
Yeah, we can mention it when we come back from the musical break because I want to talk about some of the themes. And then also, did you guys read that piece in the Indie Star by Way? And he was talking about like
I haven't.
You were interviewed in that.
Yes, he interviewed quite a few. So the diversity of theater and
and I want to hit on that too.
I missed it. He interviewed all of us, and then Suzanne got. Will you send it to me? Was it election?
I just Googled it.
I could, as a young girl, and you know, you all made these advances.
Actually, let's run it for one more minute.
Okay.
You're all so young.
What specifically did you want to ask you about that? Just diversity of theater?
Diversity in theater and some of the things that the IRT is doing to kind of be out on the front of that. I think that would be good because
I've got I think it's much big Labode.
You know, the different things what are you allowed to say or not say. I don't want to offend anybody, you know. But anyway, you know, I just think that to be here with all of you accomplished young people, literally, some of you, the architects.
I thought that it was interesting. I wish, because he talked to me too, like before then, and the only thing is, like, I feel like he tried to do a lot in that one piece. But some of the things that he hit on were really important because from the outside looking in, I think that a lot of people feel as if mainstream theater in Indianapolis is very whitewashed, and that white audiences don't want to see a nuanced look at black life or black actors and actresses doing more sophisticated things, more so falling into the same themes. You know, like.
Well, and you know, I think it goes both sides, though. Trying to get a diversified audience to come come and support. Yes, you'd be surprised. Yeah, and the thing is, I tell people all the time is, if you show up, the face of theater will change. But you're not showing up.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
that needs to be on the air.
Well, we're getting ready to go.
You know, the fact of the matter is, things change. You know, but you know, when we get on an immigrant conversation, I'm also very bitter about all the foreigners coming into the black neighborhoods, taking over the restaurants and selling our food to us. But that's the other edge of this business. But that's we don't.
And that's big.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's big.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because all these smaller black businesses are closing. Mary's Seafood, gone. Williamson's, Clifton, gone. Yeah. All the things, and then no, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that.
We're gonna talk about
He's gonna get people in trouble.
No, that's what I do. That's what this platform is about.
You stirring up the pot.
No, we just bring awareness about consciousness that people don't talk about.
That's what this show is for, especially. Yep. That was a clip from one of the TED Talks that we mentioned earlier, Sarah Jones. I don't know which number that was, but you said that she's done 5 of them.
4 or 5.
4 or 5 of them where she has introduced people to all these different characters that she's created. So she was talking about invention, and you guys got introduced to, I believe her name is Miss Lipschitz. That was the character's name.
She did like 3 or 4 characters, but she did Lorraine Levine.
Levine.
Yes,
that
Lorraine
was
Levine.
And
And actually, and further, if you watch more of that TED Talk, because, you know, as it is, Sarah Jones is diversity incarnate. That's her whole life, because she talks about that. She has Jews and Christians within her own family. She herself is biracial, and so actually she admits later on is Lorraine Levine is based off one of her great aunts or second aunts. Or,
wow.
So she's in her family. She has Dominicans in her family. So she's a very diverse. She has a very diversified family within herself, and so she's bringing forth all these people. She did later, I think it's in that TED Talk or another one, she does one of her teachers, a couple of her teachers and neighbors, because she was then sent to a UN school. So she was then immersed in, I want to say, acceptance of others. And I think I kind of had that in an indirect way. When I went to St. Richard's, it primarily had a European education. So 2 of my teachers were British. One was Welsh. The French teacher was really French. And then I went off to boarding school, and we had people at boarding school from Ecuador and Mexico and Colombia and Southern and California and the North, you know, all of them emerging into Minnesota. So I'm used to all of having that melting pot, as we call it, or salad, or whatever our terms are now, of us you know, mixing it up. You know, they used to say the salad bowl because you put all the things and all the colors and textures and stuff that are in there. So it's always been, I think that's one of the things I bring to it. When we look at what are your skills, Sarah Jones slips easily into these accents, dialects beautifully, but I've been told that I'm a really good storyteller. And so, and then,
she is.
and that my goal, like Richard said, is I want to make sure that everyone leaves the theater feeling at one time that it was me and them, that I spoke intimately with them for a given moment, and that's always a goal, that you feel that you've been intimately touched by the story at some time, and that's one of the strengths I have as a performer.
Beautiful, and I think that's one of, I know for me personally, one of my most favorite things about the theater is that intimacy. You know, you really feel like it's different than a movie screen. Whereas when I go to the movies, which is very rarely that I will pay to go to the movie theater, when I go, I'm looking for an experience. I'm looking to be completely immersed in that world. But the live theater, there's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it. And you're with there. And someone said it's about that collective breath. Because I listen to Fences, because my dressing room is right above the stage, and that large collective laughter, oh, it's wonderful. When people go, there's been some shows the IRT's done, and you hear the whole audience go, or someone goes, no, and then people laugh on the no, and you know.
That happens a lot in Fences, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's very unique.
There's a lot of things that happen in that show, and a lot of events that surprise and shock people.
Yeah, so that show's on now, right?
Fences is on, we're on the upper stage, and Fences is on the main stage.
Okay.
It opened last weekend, and it runs through April 3rd. It's one of August Wilson's plays, one of his very best plays, actually.
For sure.
Certainly
award-winning,
one of his most popular, won the Pulitzer Prize and the Tony Award. It's an amazing play, and we have a spectacular production of it, though.
And everyone should see at least one August Wilson play in their lifetime if they can. So you want to try to find somewhere that they're doing piano lesson or Fences or
Joe Turner's
Coming
Gone.
Which people don't produce as much because it's expensive. But my favorite, Gem of the Ocean, is my second favorite, to Joe Turner Come and Gone. And we could keep going on. I think they're going to remount Ma Rainey's Black Bottom on Broadway, or they have. I've heard.
Could be.
So it's sometime you want to see an August Wilson, only because he's one of the most prolific playwrights of the 20th century. And
If you don't know about August Wilson, he did this amazing thing. He wrote a series of 10 plays, one that's set in each decade of the 20th century. So there's kind of like a history of the African American spirit over that time. And it's a really powerful cycle. Fences takes place in the 50s, and it's about a former Negro League baseball player who is now a garbage man in Pittsburgh. And his son has an opportunity for a college football scholarship. But the father, because of his own experiences with athletics, is not happy about his son trying to go into athletics. So there's a lot of father-son conflict. There's a lot of family. There's a lot about neighbors and friends. And it's just a powerful
piece. Love,
very
coming of
funny,
age.
very sad,
Yeah.
very incredible play.
Yeah, Ebony and I were at the opening.
Ooh.
And we
yeah.
loved it. I mean, like,
I heard
That
that,
was
was
a
an
great
electric night.
yeah,
was
the
wonderful.
acting was great.
Yeah.
Just the storyline was awesome. And while they were actually changing scenes and everything, we're whispering over to one another, commenting about how great it was. But we also spoke about how the play really captures the essence of like the typical Black family, like that cultural aspect of it. There's so many things that we were like, oh yeah, I remember when that happened to me, or or my mom
Yes.
said this, or they felt like this. It was great.
It was very real, and that was my my second August Wilson play that I've
Look
seen
at you.
at the IRT. At the IRT, I saw Radio Golf a few years ago when
Okay,
Radio
yeah.
Golf was there, so that was great as well. But I think one of the things, and I agree with you, I think everyone should see at least one in their lifetime, because the themes that are there are so important, and it translates to everyone. Victoria and I identify with it from a certain perspective based on how we were raised and how we experience things as Black women. But then you have people in the audience from all these different walks of life, and I'm sure that they found something in there that they could identify with as well. So I wanted to kind of go to that point. What are some of the themes that are apparent? You talked about some of the ones in Fences, but in Bridge and Tunnel that kind of do that same thing.
Well, one of the things that I really love about Bridge and Tunnel is it's a play about immigrants. And immigrants is a very hot topic nowadays, and a very controversial topic.
Yeah.
But Sarah Jones doesn't approach it in a way that's about the challenges and the issues that people argue about. She shows us how all these different people from all over the world, they all want the same things. They want a family. They want love. They want to be respected and accepted for who they are. And they're all things that everybody wants.
Right.
And the thing I love about the play is that it ties everyone together, and it shows how we all have things in common, and how we all can share those things with each other and find common ground, which is a very hard thing to find in our world nowadays.
For sure.
Well, in fact,
ahead.
I was just thinking of there's Rosamie Sylvans, who's a Haitian, and she talks about fact of the matter is trying to buy a house. And here she is, and the real estate man who she was dealing with is giving her the runaround, trying to push her away from certain houses. And so you all were asking about, who we bring in to enrich the experience.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, because of that tie-in and fair housing, we are having the Fair Housing Center of Central Indiana coming in and doing a post-show discussion on April the 24th after the 4 p.m. show to talk about that theme. There it is how do you get fair housing, how you're mistreated. And we have a history of that in Indianapolis.
For sure.
There was certain sections of the city that, if you were Black looking for a house, the realtor never took you there. You were never allowed. You couldn't ask about it. And some of those areas have opened up now, but there are on the down low, there are still some neighborhoods in which African Americans cannot get housing. Then we talk about one of the things we talk about Black theater, the Asante Children's Theater, who I love and adore, and
For sure.
Deborah Asante, the founder and artistic director, created a piece about Hallville. And we talk about Hallville, the change, of housing there. It started out as an immigrant neighborhood.
It did.
Yes.
It was Slovenian.
Yeah.
I grew up in Hallville in the 90s.
Did you? Oh, that's got a great history
For
of
sure.
all the Italians and Poles,
Mhm.
and everyone used to live in Hallville. And then it changed over, and it became an African-American neighborhood. And now when you go there, it's primarily a Latino neighborhood.
Mhm.
And the changing of businesses. And so, but there are still some original neighbors. And that's one of the beauties of Hallville is you might go black, white, Latino, white, down the street.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the jewels of our city, having that richness. And you get that kind of as you go east, a little bit into Irvington, you'll get
Mhm.
different streets that have the different cultures there.
Yeah.
But that's one of those pull-ins. That's one of those themes that's there is Rosa Me talking about how she felt, and then she wrote it, that feeling or that experience, she wrote it into this poem about God bless America. So looking at the fact that we should bless America because it has Ethiopians and Eritreans and, Poles and Germans, and that's the beauty of what makes America. And not because of you, Mr. Real Estate Man, who's trying to remind us of the separation.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, bringing it down to a more microscopic level, all those things are, evident here in the city of Indianapolis. We were talking about fair housing last week as far as gentrification is concerned, and some of the development that's taking place, and some of those people that feel like they're being left behind. And we've been talking about it for the past few weeks. As our city becomes more dense and becomes more integrated and more diverse, these are the things that we have to continue to talk about. So I want to commend the IRT for not only putting on a show, putting on a play, come out and spend your money, buy these tickets, but giving people educational components to take away from it. So if you come to the show and you stay for the post show, you can't leave unchanged. You leave with these things on your mind. So it's what you're going to be talking about when you get back to work next week, when you're around your colleagues and whoever else. These are the things you're going to be discussing. Another thing I wanted to bring up, we were talking about it over the break, but a piece that ran in the Indianapolis Star, the journalist's name is Way. He talked about diversity in the Indianapolis art scene, and I wanted to talk about that specifically from the IRT's perspective, some of the things that you're doing to get out in front of that. A big part of what it is he was talking about is the perception that people have in the city that the art scene, by and large, is whitewashed. It's for, people that have means. It's for people who are educated. It's all of that. And I think what's so odd about that is a lot of the people I talk to that are a part of the art scene, it's all about access and accessibility. It's like, how do we make this more accessible to everyone? We don't want this to be, a hoity-toity thing. We don't want this to be a completely white thing. We want this to be something that everyone can engage in and support and be interested in. So I just wanted to get your all's thoughts on that.
As we look at each other, who would start?
Yeah.
I'll start with Christmas Carol. Were you thinking that too? One of the ways we the theater gets out in front of that is our most accessible show, our most inviting show is A Christmas Carol that we produce every year. And it has I will say, it's an old term, but colorblind casting, a very open casting. With Christmas Carol, and that's because we get non-subscribers come to that show from all over the state, sometimes even out of state, to see A Christmas Carol. And it plays primarily to student audiences. So it's important for the IRT, and that's mainly why we have an education series or a component of the theater, is to make sure that the students see themselves and see the possibilities that there are for them in the theater. And so I'll start the conversation with the IRT doing Christmas Carol and producing it in that way so the students will see it is accessible. You are on the stage. you could be backstage, you could be everywhere in the theater. And I'll leave it and I'll pass it to Richard to build on that.
One of the big things that we work on at the IRT is trying to create a wide range of programming that really appeals to a lot of different people. If we do the same kind of play all the time, we're going to have the same kind of people who always want to see that kind of play, coming to see that kind of play. And with our season ticket holders, we really talk about all the time about what is the journey that we're sending people on over the course of the season. The 6 plays that they come to see with their season tickets, what are the different things they come to see? And we often talk about the fact that probably not everybody's going to like everything on the season ticket package.
Yeah.
But they're going to learn something new. That's going to be challenging. It's going to be different. It's going to be funny. You know, we hope to be entertaining, but we also hope to be enlightening.
For sure.
And we also look a lot. Besides those 6 shows, we have Christmas Carol every year. We usually have a couple of kids, a couple of shows that are mostly focused at young audiences, school children, and even lately we've been trying to reach preschool children. We've started that series the last couple of years, which has been a very exciting new thing we've been doing. But we're always looking for shows that will reach people from different angles and will bring in different points of view, whether those are religious, whether those are racial, whether those are different kinds of education, whether we're doing a piece of classic literature like Shakespeare, or like this year we did The Great Gatsby, which is, you know, not even 100 years old, but it's still a classic piece of literature that people know and want to see, or a play that's very new, like this one, Bridge and Tunnel, that is showing. It's interesting that I said Great Gatsby because that takes place in New York, and this play takes place in New York, but it shows a very, very different side of New York. And one of the interesting things I think about Bridge and Tunnel is, even though it takes place in New York, it could sort of take place anywhere. It's a play about a group of people who are from all over the world gathering together and talking about their lives. So we try to reach out in as many different ways as we can to offer as many different things we can to as many different people as we can.
So does the Phoenix Theater. I mean, when we talk about we wanted to going over there, and one of the things I love, well, you know, we've got the most brilliant woman ever in the country as our executive artistic director, Janet Allen. And one of the things she says also with looking the journey we're taking, she always said, what are the conversations we want to have? And what are the conversations we need to have? Because she, you know, she's looking to press against the establishment sometimes to get us to have these conversations, because how do we change? And theater is about change. And how do we open it up and evolve, or, you know, start to have even more conversations? What, you know, I should say, if it starts at the IRT, hoping it'll spill over past the IRT and have more conversations. So even doing a play like we just did, To Kill a Mockingbird, how relevant did that come? She picked that, had no idea we were going to have young black man shot after young black man shot after young black man shot, boom, 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 all over the United States.
Yeah.
And then that play becomes the conversation we have to have.
And people can look at that and go, oh, To Kill a Mockingbird, that old thing. But it's still a great story, and it's still so relevant. And we still had people who came to the show who had never seen it, never read the book, never saw the movie, and they're experiencing that story for the first time. And it's so powerful and so humane.
Yeah. Yes. I attended To Kill a Mockingbird with my younger sister, one of the Sunday matinees, and that was the thing that she said to me was how she was reading the book in her class and she wasn't able to attend the field trip, so this was like making up for that.
Oh, fantastic.
And that was one of the things she pointed out, was how realistic it was to present day. And we were nearly like, there are people wiping tears away as we're in the theater watching this go down, to see this black man be executed for a crime that he didn't commit, you know, just like the things that we have going on in society right now. So it was some heavy stuff.
The heavy stuff, the misunderstanding, we still fear, and then we talk about that, all those relationships. And here, when you look at Mayella, although we come out kind of disliking her, she's a very tragic figure. You know, we now look, if this were now, there's millions of interracial relationships. It's nothing here in our city. But she reached out beyond a social barrier, for lack of a better term at this time, my brain, which today we take for granted. But at that time, it was major what she did. But she was looking for human kindness. And then he showed human kindness and got bitten from it. Do we not still have that today?
Very much so.
We still very much have that today.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Bridge and Tunnel. We have people saying, let's open up our borders, let's help, let's be a little bit more multilingual in our United States, remembering who all made the United States. And then we have the flip side going, no, we've got to shut our borders.
Build a wall.
Build a wall, oh yes.
Yeah.
Build a wall, you have to learn English. And I tell people all the time, I'm going, come on, gracias is English. You know.
Might as well be.
Yes, we say thank you in so many other languages in this country. It's like, come on now, there's Spanglish. Let's talk a little Spanglish here.
Certainly.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick musical break, our last one of the afternoon, and then we're going to come back and wrap up this fantastic conversation. But you guys stay tuned. You're listening to the Recorder Report on RadioNext.tv.
I got the fair, I haven't got Mo Dupe in there yet.
Okay. Randy said that even though you're not live vocally, she can see you still on YouTube.
Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah, I was nodding. I haven't even drank my orange juice yet.
No, she said even on the breaks. Like during the break, she can still see you on YouTube.
Oh.
Just an FYI.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's streaming the entire time.
Yes. Thank you.
She was good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna give you my card. See, you ready to go off in one of those?
No, I'm just trying to decide like you don't want to
No,
go.
seriously, the platform that we have here at Radio Next addresses issues on a concentrated level versus 5 minutes, where you're talking about something like what we were talking about, neighborhoods, deprivation of the neighborhood. That's a 2-hour conversation between music that we do.
Yeah.
So we've got different programs at Radio Next that addresses issues like
like
that versus this form. So.
Yeah, because I bet you will probably had some black realtors in, and my thought is, you know.
Well, if you think, like in the real estate game, I want to have shows addressing everything from public awareness, mental health, autism, all those things.
Yes,
I mean, because in the real estate game, you're absolutely right. See, I witnessed white flight over on the Far East Side.
Yes.
Moved over in the Grant Forest Manor neighborhood. We were the second African American family there within 9 months. Within 9 months, I'm talking about almost every white person that lived in my neighborhood in probably an 8-square block area
have moved
out in 8 months. I mean, we moved in and we were like just one of 3 families in the neighborhood, and I'm talking just rapid escape. I was like, damn, how do you do this?
Yeah.
And nothing but blacks moved into the hood.
Yeah.
So I said,
that's how that whole Forest Manor area became.
That whole area became that because it was a little nice, little quaint,
yeah,
Rockwell neighborhood, man. And shoot, before we knew it, brothers in there scaring us.
Yeah.
Totally
well,
different.
You know, I always think you probably talked about this. The thing is, there's poverty. Economic poverty, but there's poverty in the mind.
See, we just talked about that on the committee's report yesterday.
Yes.
The state is, and I asked the question, and I said, is poverty a state of mind or is it economic deprivation? And he said both.
Yes.
He said both.
Both.
You know.
Who said that? We need to write that down.
Dr. Mark Eckel.
Yeah.
We do a show with Mark Eckel, and he does a show called the Comenius Institute Walker Wolf Radio. Goes to college, goes over to IUPUI and takes seniors leaving home for the first time and gives them a foundation to learn like the principles of proverbs. Then introduce them to scripture. We're trying to introduce scripture to people whose minds aren't even set up in a spiritual world yet. So let them live proverbs. If you do the rules, now you got somebody willing to accept some information on another way of living.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they do.
Yes.
So they integrate that.
Another way of living.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. Hello, everyone. You're tuned into the Recorder Report. We're here live on RadioNext.tv. If you have been listening, you can also watch us. We're getting ready to wrap up, but next week we'll be doing it again. Watch us live stream on YouTube. You search youtube.com/recorderreports. Also, visit us online at www.indianapolisrecorder.com. I'm going to have the broadcast from this afternoon up later on this evening, so you can check that out. Once again, just a reminder, we'll be holding our Authors Meetup event March 26th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's going to be really, really awesome. We're holding it at Indie Reads Books on Massachusetts Avenue.
Fantastic.
And you can come in and get information on how to navigate the worlds of traditional and independent publishing. So if you're an aspiring writer, you've already written some things, just trying to figure out how do I, put this all together, how do I get it out there, we encourage you to come out. It's a free event. We're going to have, some refreshments and things and some great information. So on next week's show, we're going to have all of our panelists, which are local Black authors. We're going to have them on the show, so that's going to be great. We've been here with Milicent Wright and the director of Bridge and Tunnel happening at the IRT. So we're going to go ahead and get back to that. We were talking about some really great things over the break, going back into some of those themes that are apparent in this show. So just to piggyback on that.
One thing we talked, one of the other breaks we talked about, and it ties in to the diversity issue of theater or just the arts in general.
Yeah.
Is the landscape of it all will change and alter if we show up. And I say we, being an African American, if we as African Americans show up, when the Latinos show up and the Asians show up, the landscape will start to change and the hue will differ, because they'll want to include us more. They'll see us more. We're participating more. And as we all know, when you participate more, that changes. You have an impact. Back when,
at that point.
We've done so many plays on the civil rights, and the fact is, we all know with the civil rights, what they really proved was the impact of black dollars, and that changed. The bus was like, we're losing money, and we, that was one of the things that was all about, desegregating the buses was also, it needed to be done, but it was also an economic impact.
Yeah.
And so that it shows, people were saying, we see people coming. But I'll tell you, one of the most diverse audiences I saw was when we did Dracula.
Wow.
Everybody I saw this everybody wanted to see Dracula. I saw this man, had a big gold chain. He was standing looking around this theater like, where am I? And I was like, I knew how he got there. Sooner than later, his girlfriend came. Women bring people to the theater.
Yeah.
But he was there because his girlfriend wanted to see it. He'd probably never been in that building in his life, but he wanted to see Dracula. So that had very diverse, all ages, even the goth kids and the non-goth kids, you were saying geeking out, the geeks, everybody came to Dracula.
Yeah.
So there's diversity in little pockets of what you see. It's also, as we know with the conversation, we've had this, all my lifetime, is what is diversity? And is that definition changing and altering through our lifetime? We did Dontrell, Who Kissed the Sea at the Phoenix
And you
Theater.
were fantastic in that, by the way.
Thank you very much. And I really enjoyed, and that, again, Nathan Davis, who wrote that, he himself is biracial, and a lot of people weren't showing up.
And I was going to ask you about that, because I know that the Phoenix talked about how Dontrell, that was, and I hate to use this terminology, but that was like one of their black shows of the season. It had a primarily black cast. The lead in that was black. It was written by a biracial man. And they said that it didn't sell well. So what I wanted to know is, from the IRT's perspective, do you all ever fear that when you do things that have this more diverse, thing to it, or where it's not like a white lead or a majority white cast, do you ever fear that the money's not going to come in? Like, this isn't going to sell well, and does that impact your choices at all?
That's a very good question.
One of the things we have to think about with every show we do is this going to sell tickets? Are people going to want to see this? Are people going to want to spend their money to come see the show? And the thinking behind that is different. on every show. Sometimes it's about the theme of the show. Sometimes it's about the story of the show. Sometimes it's just about the time of year of the show. You know, but that is definitely a consideration that any business has to consider. Is, are we going to create this product that people want to buy? And so, like Milicent said, you know, the more people come to see things, the more we're going to think, oh, people like that. We're going to do more of that.
Certainly. Well, you know, maybe I'm a little bit biased because I've been to the IRT more times.
A lot this year.
A lot this year. Well, I love the theater, and I've been to the Phoenix. I'll go wherever, but I'm just going to go out there and say it. The IRT definitely has something that you're going to want to buy. You're going to want to spend your money to come out and see this. So, Bridge and Tunnel, it opens. Let me grab the program.
It opens March 29th.
Yes, opens March 29th at the IRT.
And it runs through the month of April.
And Ebony, one thing, but tag it really fast, what you said. It's affordable. You can make it. There are ways. There are days. There are times. We got deals. You got social media. They run specials. You can get theater in your life without breaking your pocketbook, all right?
For sure. So go on and check it out. Once again, you've been listening to the Recorder Report here live on RadioNext.tv. Tune in next week, same time, same station. Visit us online at www.indianapolisrecorder.com.
Go ahead, Jim Boy.
Thank you guys
Good
so
show.
much.
Thank you so much.
Oh my
Thanks for
God,
having
thank
us.
you. We got to get Janet with you. She's going to love you.
Oh, I met Janet.
Oh, yeah.
I love her. I did the radio show, celebrity
Oh, okay.
radio show.
Oh,
Sheila does.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
my
yeah.
God, the two of you together,
Awesome.
that would be too much.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no. I'm.
Hey,
Are you all right, Kelly?
You sweat, yeah.
Dizzy. I don't know why.
Well, maybe we need to make sure you
Are you
right.
drinking enough water? You obviously have it in your.
Yeah, I have some.
Are you not
Great
making
show,
nervous
yeah.
when you're like,
Thanks so much for having us.
Oh, of
Nice
course.
to know.
Anytime. Very nice meeting you.
Yeah,
Finally.
I
Yeah.
saw you on stage in your red dress.
Oh yeah, the infamous red dress.
What did I tell you?
Yes,
Yeah.
the infamous red dress. Yeah.
Let's talk about the first
Thanks
you
for
needed
that.
at the table.
Yes.
And you walked over and I'm like, oh.
Are you is the show on here too?
Let me see that.
Yeah,
So I'll be able to
I
get
had
this
issues
link.
yesterday tracking my
Keep
show.
this in your purse.
Yeah.
I'll be able to get
Well,
this
this is
link
my
off your
first
website.
one.
Yes, that's what he's going to do right now. Is pull it, and then and then I'm going to have the live stream as well that I'm going to put up once I stop recording.
You won't be pregnant during August.